In the USA and Canada, we still endorse good service results in a great tip. To gain a glance at Vancouver's tipping debate, we interviewed various service industry professionals, an etiquette expert, and a range of customers we encountered on the street.
Historically, some people say it originated in England, some people say it went much farther back than that.
Whether you were a cobbler or barber or butcher or whatever it may be, the gratuities always existed as a, hey, thanks, you do a really good job.
Generally, if the service is par or better, I'll tip 20%.
I usually tip 20 myself.
Some people say it's 15, some people say it's 20.
20 or above.
Usually around 20%.
My general is about 22 to 25%. And that's self-serving as well, because I don't want to look like an asshole. You're a restaurateur, you go in and you tip like 15%, you never do it.
There's such a gray area around how much you're actually supposed to tip.
Well, tipping is never required, whether you're in a restaurant or any other service. It's just considered a nice gesture.
If I take out, I don't really tip.
No.
Well, I tipped the delivery guy yesterday, though.
It's about how much that person adds to the service that you're paying for already.
If you're a very good tipper, no matter where you go, that service will be exemplary and you can then impress that upon your friends.
It's useful because it does incent people to provide great service.
Often it is based on the wage structure.
They have to tip out a certain percentage, and if they're not making that from you, then they're losing money, and I don't think that's fair.
Someone doesn't leave a tip and they have a $100 bill, that actually cost us a couple of dollars to serve them for the night.
Restaurants can't afford to pay $18 to a server, most of them can't. So what the incentive is you'll make X, Y, or Z on an average over a week in gratuities. That will then top up your income.
You get so many people from so many different areas don't even know how to tip. They don't know what a tip is. They don't know, some people don't believe in tipping.
Tipping is something that has evolved over time, and some countries tip, some countries don't tip.
Across the border, a lot of folks don't even get paid a wage to work the floor. So you're living strictly off tips.
I kind of like how Australia is, where it's just like included.
I know in Australia they also don't tip, and I have to say the service there was terrible.
From my travels, I think service is better in a tipping culture.
I've worked with people that, and in the past and that definitely just expect a tip.
I think there's something to the system of if you give a little bit extra, you get a bit extra.
I don't think that the model works if you integrate it at all. I don't think it makes any sense, and a gratuity also shouldn't be implied.
Even if they don't talk to me and they make no effort, I still tip them. There's just something, and that's the thing, and I hate that I'm doing it, but I do it.
If you have inappropriate service or unsatisfactory service, I always recommend bringing that to the attention of the server or service person at that particular time.
If they're slammed, there's a reason they're crappy service, then whatever. But if they're actually just miserable people, don't be a server.
It is a service industry. That's how you make your money, by giving service. But then if you start expecting it, it's a little bit of...
It becomes a tax.
If I get shitty service, I blow the server up. I'll be like, hey, are you okay today? Are you having a bad time? And I try to hit that early on in the meal.
Some countries tend to pay their employees more, their service workers more.
I think in Vancouver they're putting the tip jars everywhere because they're not paying them enough. It's an expensive city. They're not making enough per hour.
You can't base your wage and your daily life and your income on what other people are going to give you,
If we're doing our job, please tip us. This is what we live off of. Plain and simple.
It's the way for a table to show gratitude that they had a great time. If they didn't have a great time, well, that'll reflect. And ultimately, that's great for an operator because your service staff are going to want to make good tips. So they're going to chase great service.
They should actually give a higher minimum wage for their servers, so they don't feel like they have to force the customers to give more tip, right? So it's just the whole structure also is actually very messed up.
20% for your thoughts?